You better shape up, 'cause I need a man.
You know this is getting left.
Oh no!
That's my intro.
No,
Well,
I'm
that is
going to stop
going
my
in.
recording.
No, come on, we're going. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're back once more with the unnamed Motorsport podcast. Yes, we're here today to review the Belgian Grand Prix that wasn't really there. What we hyped this up so much. F1 was back 4 weeks away. We were hyped. We were ready.
I was so excited at 10-2 yesterday. It was honestly...
Exactly. Genuinely, I don't think I'd been that excited
Yeah.
for a Grand Prix since probably the start of the year. Or maybe Imola, because again, that was wet as well, wasn't it? You think anything can happen, it's Spa.
George Russell's on the front row.
George Russell's on the front row, which we're going to have to talk about in just a moment. But what an absolute disaster. Obviously, we'll get into the Grand Prix itself in just a moment, like Jamie just mentioned. Let's quickly talk about qualifying then. Two main talking points from qualifying, isn't it? George Russell with probably the lap of the year, I think it's going to go down as. In very weird circumstances, I must add as well. But before we talk about that, let's talk then about Lando Norris's crash. Now, to build up the scene, fastest in Q1, if I remember correctly.
I didn't watch Q1 or Q2, so this is all on you.
Fair enough. I'm pretty certain he was either right there. He was either first or second. It was him and Max. They were obviously at the front of the field. Fastest Q1, I'm pretty certain. Fastest Q2, I'm pretty certain as well. Gets to Q3. The rain starts coming down heavier. Sebastian Vettel says they need to come in. And what happens?
Well, someone aquaplanes off Eau Rouge. No one ever saw that coming. So, yeah, not great. I mean, to be fair to Lando, he did sort of say it was his own mistake on the radio. I just watched earlier. But, like, it's aquaplaning up a hill that has a massive river on it. So there's not much he could really do.
No.
But yeah, a bit of a shame for Lando. Obviously, with the way the race panned out, if he had got a pole, he'd have won. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's the mad thing, innit?
a bit of a shame.
Yeah, absolutely crazy for Lando Norris. I mean, it could have been a much worse crash.
He was lucky the way he went into the wall, yeah. And it was pretty amazing he didn't have to replace the chassis. Obviously, it didn't matter anyway.
No.
The chassis was apparently repairable, which is quite incredible.
It is quite impressive, isn't it? Just how much they can sort of save on these Formula 1 cars at the moment.
Unless
But
you're
let's
Ferrari,
quick.
though.
Exactly, yeah. Let's quickly as well then just discuss Eau Rouge. Now, the FIA, well, Spa has confirmed there are going to be changes made next year. I've had a bit of a look. They seem to have they're making the right changes to it with what they're doing with like the tyre barriers. I don't know if you've seen a picture anywhere, Jamie, of it at all. But it's so difficult, isn't it, with Eau Rouge?
It's a sort of thing that you know for a fact that if they got rid of Belgium from the calendar, which I don't think they will do, this is hypothetical.
Yeah.
But if they were to bin off Spa, like 25 years' time, people would look back and look at it like the Arvis Ring or something like that, where it's just stupidly dangerous, apparently, because all the tracks are so vanilla.
I mean, the Arvis Ring is a bit different.
Nah,
Let's
the
be
Arvis Ring
fair.
is class. Bring it back.
You literally found the Arvis Ring 2 weeks ago, and you've suddenly just gone
I
all
found
for the
it like a
Arvis
year
Ring.
ago. It's such a good track. I want to go there in real life.
You're aware that back in like post-war cars, they'd be able to do well over 220 miles an hour down there.
Yeah.
Back when they had like closed wheels and stuff,
And like
because they literally have
cap on.
fighter engines. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they'd go around a wall.
But like Belgium, the thing that makes it so good is like the history and the character. I really hope they don't change Eau Rouge, to be honest. I mean, I know terrible things have happened there, but like terrible things can happen in motorsport. I know that's a really bad attitude to have.
Oh, it's so difficult,
really
isn't it?
difficult,
Because
yeah.
I know exactly what you're trying to say. It's really, really difficult to justify it. My thought was, and this is where it's so difficult, because I had an idea, sort of, like, just led in bed last night, sort of thing. Or led in bed, I think it was Saturday night, actually thinking about it. It's a shame the support pit lane is where it is. Because if you imagine, if you head down to Eau Rouge, say you go right a bit before you then swing back left, you could tighten up the corner a bit, and force them to slow down a bit. You put gravel on either side, but you wouldn't ruin it by too much, I don't think.
I don't know. I suppose it's
because
not,
that's how it used to be as well.
Yeah.
No, exactly. It's just a straight line for them. Unless it's the F1 games where the rear end of the car grams out all the time and you just spin.
You just corner cut every lap like I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I the people complain that the barriers spit cars back onto the track. They don't. It's just
They do.
You look at any picture. If one car goes into the barriers, it's just because other cars are off the track as well, which is why they hit them. So in the W Series, no car was back on the track. It was just
W
other cars
Series
going
was a
off.
bit different.
A bit different. That they were all like, I don't even know what happened. But it didn't start.
Spa
torrentially raining or something.
24. Spa 24. Someone got spat into the middle of the road. That was on the track.
I don't believe it was, but whatever. I didn't watch it that much. So.
Spa 24 was in the middle of the track. Yeah, that's why you got walloped. And then obviously Hubert as well.
That wasn't on the track.
Was not on the track, was it?
That was, yeah. The car was well off on the right trying to avoid everything and hit the
basically where Lando. Well, he was a bit before where Lando stopped, wasn't he? Yeah. It's so difficult, isn't it? Still, because on the other hand, there's not a lot they can do with Eau Rouge in terms of moving the tyre barriers back.
Doesn't work as a massive hill.
You can't unless you move literally millions of tons of land. You can't really do a lot with reprofiling it. That's why I sort of said about whether you could try and make him go right, sort of like where the pit lane is now, and then swing back left and then up the hill.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Even if they have to drop down just one gear or something like that a bit more to get through.
But
because let's be fair, no one wants to see the 1994 chicane put in place. Have you ever seen pictures of that?
No.
Literally, you go in, and then when you go left for Eau Rouge, you go hard left, then hard right up the hill. It's basically like a triangle.
That sounds terrible.
It's horrendous.
Like, that's probably the best thing about Spa is the undulation and the speed that you can carry in stupid places. But, like,
exactly. Eau Rouge, Pouin Blanchiment.
Like, motorsport safety is completely about mitigating risks, and I get that. And you could argue that an accident, a bad accident, is more likely to happen at Eau Rouge than at Le Con, for example, which is true. But you don't want every track to just be the exact same. Like, you don't just want 90-degree corners and chicanes and low-speed corners everywhere. Some tracks have got to have that element of risk, which I'm not saying drivers have to go and lose their lives.
It's what makes you look forward to a race at Spa.
Yeah, because it's such a challenge. But I don't know. It's a very difficult subject to talk about without getting cancelled. So
exactly, it's very, very difficult, and as well, neither of us have the expertise to really sort of make any worthwhile changes or recommend any worthwhile changes to it. As well, obviously, we can only sort of formulate from our sort of fan perspective of what you can do with it. The only because the problem is
hasn't been used yet. I'm sure there's a reason because they're definitely clever enough to think of that themselves. But the Nouvelle chicane at Monaco, that barrier that sticks out that cars can go directly into at like 180 miles an hour, that has a much better barrier system than the tyres do. Yeah. But I guess it probably spits cars along them more. I don't know.
I'm guessing Tech Pro as well, if you use it at much higher speeds.
Doesn't work as well, maybe.
Probably because you absorb the energy in a different way, don't you, really? With Tech Pro.
And it just like
I'm guessing that might be dangerous if you want that 200 miles an hour, that much stopping power.
But exactly, there's technicians engineers who know a lot more than we do.
Exactly. If they could use Tech Pro, though, there's probably a reason why they haven't already. Exactly. So, let's get on then, with the rest of qualifying then. Obviously, I think it was originally Hamilton who went fastest, I want to say.
No, George.
No, Hamilton went fastest originally. Yeah. Then with about, a minute left on the clock? Yeah. Everyone's out for their last laps. Track seems to be getting a little bit quicker again. The rain has eased ever so slightly. Hamilton is 2/10 down at the end of Sector 1. He runs horribly wide again through the first couple of corners, through La Source even, I should say, at the start of the lap. So he's yellow in Sector 1, but still quicker than Verstappen at this time of the session. Purple through Sector 2. You think, surely now this is going to be the lap. He was 1.7 up on his previous laps. So you're like, everyone is going to go quicker here. Then, as Hamilton's coming through Sector 3, George Russell pops up on the timing graphic. Purple, Sector 1.
Madness.
Purple, Sector 2. We thought Sector 1, fair enough, it's basically a straight. Sector 2, he goes purple, you think, holy shit, something might happen here. This could be incredible.
Then Lewis bangs out Sector 3, to be fair to him.
Yep, Lewis bangs out Sector 3. Goes 2 minute .1, doesn't he?
Yeah. and then Russell edges ahead of him
by 13 thousandths of a second, I want to say.
Yeah, it was madness. And then, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, I'm a Verstappen fan, but it would have been crazy to see Russell on pole.
Yeah, George pole would have been incredible, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but
like, I genuinely, I think, as much as I'm a Hamilton fan, I was happy to see George go faster than him.
Yeah.
Because I honestly thought that would be
it's genuinely the 8th fastest guy. I mean, maybe in those conditions it could sneak into like 7th, because Latifi was what, 12th. So
yeah, Williams have got a decent car in the rain,
but still,
to be fair, and they'd also gambled on a massive wet package this weekend as well. I read. Yeah.
But still, the performance was incredible. So he's definitely got that Mercedes seat, by the way.
Well, this is what I wanted to get into later on in the podcast. There's another rumour going around today that I've seen that seems quite interesting. We'll discuss that later on as well there. But yeah, so George Russell comes across the line, 2-minute flat. Verstappen then right at the end, there's a 59.7. Yeah. I was gutted with that, I'll be honest.
Even as a Verstappen fan, I was happy to get on pole, but like George on pole would have been mad.
George on pole would have been absolute scenes. But yeah, that was obviously just absolutely crazy on Saturday then. And we didn't realise it at the time. Obviously, we saw that, thought, well, that's going to live in our memories for a long time. Unfortunately, then, of course, the rest of the Grand Prix weekend was memorable for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, completely.
So, Friday morning then. I don't know, did you watch the Formula 3?
I did, actually, Saturday, Sunday morning, yeah.
Yeah, it was quite interesting, wasn't it? Obviously, we won't really talk about it too much in this, but an interesting wet race early on in the morning. You think, right, it's wet spa day. We haven't seen a fully wet weekend in so long now in Formula 1, where all three days have been raining like this.
You sure?
It's been a while.
I'm thinking Hockenheim 19. Maybe was that dry quali? Yeah, was that?
Hockenheim 19 was dry quali, I'm pretty certain.
Oh, fair. Then it's been a while then. Yeah. Italy 2008.
Yeah, so Italy 2008. Well, it was dry by the end of the race, really, wasn't it? In the end,
they were still on Inters, I think. I don't think they were on slick.
It might have been dry enough. Yeah, it might have stopped raining, but it was still wet, wasn't it? But yeah, so we're thinking. Obviously, F3 race happens. Jack Doohan again. We spoke about Dennis Hauger last time out. Yeah, we mentioned Dennis Hauger, and then suddenly he has an absolute disaster of a weekend, and now Jack Doohan's back in the title fight with him as well there. But
sorry, Dennis.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, Dennis, you're awful, mate. You're not going to win the title.
Jack Doohan's winning easy.
And to be fair, I said that I quite like Jack Doohan, so
yeah.
I don't know if I'm trying to jinx him or not.
Because he's Australian.
Not quite how it works, but okay.
Yeah, just go back a couple of hundred years, it's fine.
Oh, dearie me. But yeah, of course, so we get to the race. It's Sunday. The rain is still absolutely lashing it down. The cars head out for the formation lap.
Do they?
The cars head out for another formation lap.
You mean the...
Well, it gets delayed by 20 minutes to begin with, doesn't
Perez
it?
crashing on his own.
Oh, I completely forgot about that, yeah. Talk me through that quickly.
Well, Perez is an absolute fraud and binned it on the way to the grid, so... And Red Bull, because he's not Max Verstappen, decided they won't bother.
Exactly, yeah, that made me laugh.
Yeah,
that
they were
made
like,
me laugh.
Sorry, that's it, Checo, unlucky. You're not Verstappen.
But I think there's a rule with that, isn't there? Because I thought that as well. I think there's a rule that if you can't get back to the start line, they can't do anything with it.
Yeah, there's no recovery because you can't have help. Even though they must have had help eventually.
They did get recovery help. Yeah. I think what it is you can't do the outlap without any recovery, because obviously there is no Grand Prix ever where they delay the start by 3 hours.
Yeah.
So if you don't think you can get it done by the time the race is meant to start, you just get wheeled off the track. Yeah. So yeah, Perez, I think again he was a bit unlucky in that instance, wasn't he? But it's a bit difficult to justify as well.
It was a bad error.
Yeah. It was a rookie error. Yeah. Exactly. It's that wet. You sort of think what you do, and obviously we got to appreciate Matty G's biasness as well in full force. We love that.
What did he say? I don't remember what he said.
It was just the fact he said it was completely inexcusable that someone would bin it like that. Someone called him out for British bias, and then he said, "What are you on about?" And they reminded him of Russell binning it last year, where he was going, "Oh, Russell, such an easy mistake to make," and all that, which was a highlight of the weekend in the end, unfortunately.
Yeah, not much else happened. So.
Exactly. So we've still then got Max Verstappen, George Russell, front row, ready for the start. They go out for the formation lap. They do another formation lap. They do one more formation lap?
Yep.
Then they come into the pit lane.
Because it was red flag. It was too wet.
Exactly. They get red flagged. Now, let's be fair. Let's just get it right out there straight away, Jamie. I think we can both agree on it. It was too wet to race.
Yeah.
At any point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
From 2 p.m. onwards, it was too wet
That's the problem
to have an event.
as well with such a unique circuit. If this was Hungary or like Silverstone, where it's completely flat and there's not much relief happening, they probably would have been able to race. It's just because the risk is so much higher going at like 200 miles an hour up a massive hill.
Exactly.
In the wet.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but there was no stage of the race that was suitable to race on. Like, you could tell.
So they come back into the pits. We then get a break.
I stick on Burnley against Leeds. That was fun.
I didn't. I sat for 5 hours.
I then watched the
Genuinely.
It was a great afternoon for me.
Genuinely, I sat there for 5 hours and watched this,
You're a
thinking
mug.
something's going to happen at some point. I know I am, I got so much stick from the few people at work that know I watched Formula 1 today. Honestly, it was beyond a joke. But, so they give a rain delay. Then they give another rain delay. Now, whilst all this is going on, there are so many things going on behind the scenes in terms of people talking to Micheal Masi. Let's try and just dive through them then. So, we've got a couple of teams asking if there's telling them there's going to be like a break in the weather. So he's sort of talking about, yeah, we might be able to do that. I think the first big one was obviously Red Bull going to him, wasn't it? About getting Perez back in the Grand Prix. Mm-hmm. And again, obviously, Masi seemingly unaware of the rules.
Yeah, he didn't really know what was going on. I mean, I get that it's a very unique scenario.
Yeah.
But to not know your own rules is a little bit bad. I mean,
it's so difficult,
I used to
isn't
be
it?
a coordinator for a league, and I didn't know my own rules.
Did you?
Like,
but
I
you
would
were
just be
coordinator for a
winging it
league.
completely.
Yeah.
Anytime
I
I
remember
about restarts, I was like, I don't know.
I remember
just do what
being
you
a
want.
driver in your leagues and you restarting Monaco because it was wet.
No, I didn't.
You did.
Someone who shouldn't have been in the lobby took someone out at that time.
They also did that, but you should have saved the weather.
Nah.
But I'm not complaining because I won that
You won
race.
anyway. Yeah.
But I'll be honest, we see a lot of hate for Micheal Masi on Twitter.
We do. I don't mind him.
I think he's got one of the most difficult jobs in Formula One.
Imagine
like without a
trying to please
doubt.
everyone. That's so hard. Like,
there is no way in those situations he makes the right decision, unfortunately, that will please everyone. Because, let's be fair, he either cancels a Grand Prix and you get millions, and I mean millions, of upset fans around the world.
because people would be mad as anything if Verstappen and George just didn't get the chance to take
Exactly.
their front row and stuff. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, and running it on Monday wasn't an option. I don't know why they were bothering to talk about that.
I don't know why people seem to think that. Bank Holiday Monday in the UK, it's not in Belgium.
I
People
also
have jobs to go
attempted
to.
bang a few
Marshals
tweets at
are...
the time. It didn't work at all. So
Yeah,
fine.
it didn't. It was painful to view. But racing tonight was not an option. Not only was it still wet, marshals have got real jobs to go to.
Yeah.
TV broadcasts
Have to be
won't
on
be
the way
willing to do it.
Zandvoort.
Exactly. Teams are trying to get to Zandvoort. You've got all the camera gear and everything like that in the F1 Media Centre that needs to get moved to the next event, or the F1 Production Centre, sorry, even. That's got to all get moved there as well.
Like, it's such a
It
tight
just
schedule
wasn't
anyway.
viable.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is, I think, the problem, isn't it, so far this year, where they're so focused on these 23 races. Like, it seems that they're almost trying too hard because of COVID to
like,
get
we
these
need to
23
cram
races to
everything
go,
yeah.
we can do everything. Look what Formula 1 can do despite a global pandemic. And on the other hand, you just think, give some of the teams a break every once in a while.
They get 2 weeks off in the summer and that's it. They will go in full pelt the rest of the time. It's a bit crazy.
Exactly. From March to December.
Yeah, mid-December this year.
And even then, obviously at the end of the year, they've then got to develop next year's car and get it out for February.
Well,
they've
meanwhile,
literally got...
the year going on.
Well, exactly. They've got a month and a half, haven't they, really, now, before the cars have got to be out of winter testing. And which is just not enough.
No, not at all. Sorry, I was yawning, but
Fair enough. Fair enough. Sorry I'm doing that to you.
yeah.
But yeah, so getting back to the important stuff, let's just sort of finish this whole saga about the racing. It gets delayed more and more. We then get this discussion that the time starts from when the race is meant to start,
Which is 3
which
hours.
gives them 3 hours, despite the
2
fact a
PM.
Grand Prix... It can go on for 3 hours from 2 p.m, but a Grand Prix can last up to 4 hours.
No, it can't. No, that's the confusion.
Can it only last up to 3 now, can
After
it?
Canada, after Canada 2011, they changed it to 3 hours. So
No, after Canada 2011, they changed it to 4. That was the thing.
Or maybe it's changed.
That was because that's what they always said. It was 4 hours. This is why I was confused. They changed it to 4 because of Canada 11.
There's 2 hours allowed of actual racing now.
Yeah,
but
2 hours of actual racing.
3 hour slot of once the race has started, you got to get it done in 3 hours.
But that's changed more recently.
Yeah,
that's changed more recently. Yeah,
but then
and this is where the difficult thing was.
We can't just end it. So let's just pause the timer at an hour left.
Exactly, which was then ridiculous because why don't you do that
with 3 hours
at the start?
Left. Yeah.
It just felt like Micheal Masi and the FIA were just sort of making decisions as they go along because they were panicking at the end of the day, and you can understand why.
He's going to lose his
Belgium is one of the most attended events of the year.
Yeah.
There is a huge amount of money involved in that event,
a lot of media attention,
and getting that race, and a huge. You've got This was just general news, wasn't it? In the end, like a lot of media outlets just picked up on this because it was so farcical at the end of the day with the way it was all done.
Yeah,
because obviously,
they literally 100%. Sorry, I'm only going to get onto this. They sent the cars out 4 hours after it was meant to be, literally for the sole purpose of not cancelling the race. They knew they weren't gonna run the race.
They knew nothing was going to happen. They knew it was still too wet.
They just wanted to give out points. So like,
exactly. They wanted to save confusion for themselves and save face at the end of the day, and as well mean they didn't have to give out a refund. Which now reading it, apparently most of the sites you can buy tickets from already, when you buy tickets, you agree that you won't get a refund based on force majeure anyway. But
Hamilton said he's going to give a refund to the fans, which is amazing if he does.
Did he say he was going to, or did he say they deserved one?
He might have said they deserved one, but I
think he said they deserved one.
Fair, he might not be then, but he's rich enough probably. Yeah. But then it's not his responsibility; it's F1's
responsibility.
So
exactly, it's F1 and Belgium, Spa-Francorchamps responsibility to do it.
But I don't think they will.
No, they've had such a difficult time the last couple of months. I mean, you had all the flooding, you had all the damage, everything like that.
No fans last
out of pretty much any track in the world, they needed. They're like any Formula One track. They needed a good weekend here.
Yeah.
And it just didn't happen.
Yeah,
now, don't get me wrong. Belgium's not on the... Well, it shouldn't be on the cusp of getting dropped or anything like that. Really, I'd argue there's 4 tracks that just won't get dropped from Formula One at any point. Monza, Belgium, Silverstone, Monaco. They will always just be there.
They often try and drop Silverstone.
No, they don't try and drop it. They just don't renew it, But it always gets renewed in the end. There's always
Bernie's thing where like there was a 20% increase on the cost each year, which didn't help until 2017, when so it's costing them way more than they ever thought.
Yeah, but Silverstone won't go. Like, it just won't happen.
No, it won't. But yeah, I think Belgium. I was a bit disappointed, obviously, because it's a great track and it's a great race every year. But
has it though? Because this is what people were talking about. I love the Belgian Grand Prix circuit. Like, I've said every time I go there in videos, it's my second favourite racetrack in the world, genuinely, just behind the Nordschleife, and it is my favourite Grand Prix circuit in the world by some margin.
I've got a picture of it behind me, actually, that over there. Yeah, it's a good track.
Okay.
Just looking at my background, I've got one. It's great.
Fair enough. But it is genuinely like, because we've both been there as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
We actually met at the Belgian Grand Prix. Yeah. Not originally. We knew each other beforehand online.
It from my memory,
exactly, but it's the only time we've actually met in person. I think we touched upon this last podcast. But Spa-Francorchamps, I mean, I was meant to be there last month for the Spa 24, and I was gutted I couldn't go for that. It is such... You can't really describe it, can you?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Tracks like that just aren't built anymore.
No, not at all.
Like, just nothing quite like Spa will happen again. At any point. Herman Tilke couldn't come up with a track like this in a million years.
The last good race was probably 2015, thinking about it.
Which I was there for.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, that was the first Grand Prix I went to, because we heard Vettel's tyre blow up.
Vettel blew up, Funny.
Yeah. But, the last few Grand Prix that haven't been great. But on the other hand, that's not always been the circuit's fault, though, because they've kind of been a bit difficult, haven't they, recently? Because 2017 was... Well, 2016 was just Mercedes domination, wasn't it? Yeah. There you go, so that killed that race. 2017 was... Hamilton was just OP, wasn't he? Because Mercedes had better top-end speed.
Vettel ran him close, but Hamilton was OP. 2018
was because Ferrari just had an OP car down the straight.
comes
Seb got him on lap
Vettel.
1, even though yellow flag should have already been called out.
Yeah, safety car should have been out, but
Safety car should have been out long before Vettel got even alongside him, which was ridiculous. So Seb just walked away with that one. 2019 was
Charles
obviously
won.
Mercedes. Oh, Charles won, sorry. Yeah, no, that was a decent race.
yeah,
That was a
alright.
decent.
Yeah,
That Charles Leclerc got poled by a bigger gap than he won the Grand Prix that
yeah,
year.
he got pulled by like 9 tenths, didn't he?
Yeah. And then won the Grand Prix by half second over Hamilton. That was a decent
illegal
one.
entry,
And
though,
obviously,
didn't really count.
oh, yeah, and obviously there was all the everything else that went on with that weekend as well there. And then
2020 was
obviously
dead.
2020 was what, like round 5 of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And it was
Hamilton,
again
Bottas,
Merc domination. Yep. Rather predictably there
Yeah.
as well. So it has delivered some good races in recent years, but there are so many iconic races from Spa as well.
Yeah, 2009, that was a good one.
2009, 2008, 2010. 2008 was rigged, but still.
2012 was good.
2012 was good, yep. Well, pretty much every race. Well, a lot of races
2014
in
was
2012 were good.
'cause Hamilton ran Rosberg out of road and ran over his front wing.
Well, he didn't run him out of road, did he? Rosberg
he
just
did.
turned in on him.
We support Rosberg
But
in this podcast.
we don't. Half this podcast supports Rosberg.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Spa, it can't leave the calendar. It just
no
won't.
way. Yeah.
It just won't, it just can't, and it'll be an incredibly sad day if it ever does. Now, this was something else then. So obviously, let's finish off this saga. I know I keep saying it, but still.
10 minutes
So-
ago he said that.
Yeah, race then where they do 2 more laps on the safety car 3 hours later, and they call it.
I've switched off.
No one had an opportunity to do any overtaking. They all sat behind the safety car for the entirety of the Grand Prix. Max Verstappen wins. George Russell gets a podium. Means now it's just Alfa Romeo and Haas that haven't had a podium this year,
Wow,
which is
yeah.
a ridiculous stat.
That
12
is
races
cheap.
in, 8 teams have scored podiums. It was the first time as well since Malaysia 2012 that 8 cars from 8 teams made up the top 8 at the end of a Grand Prix.
Nice. That's good knowledge.
Which
Good
is
research.
another good one for you. That wasn't my research. Someone else told me that because I asked them.
Do you know who got the top 3 that race?
It was 2012 Malaysia.
I
Was
think about this actually. I don't really know.
no, it wasn't
I know.
Alonso.
Yeah, it was.
Was it? Was that no? Wasn't that the year his
Alonso,
front wing
Perez,
fell
Hamilton.
off? Oh yes, sorry, yeah, 2012. Which was the year Alonso's front wing fell off? Was that 13?
13, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so there were a few good stats from the Grand Prix as well there, but
Also,
farcical.
I think Bottas and Perez, well, Perez definitely has. I think Bottas has had more non-points than he has podiums this year.
probably.
Because he got another one in Belgium, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Well, George Russell's now had an equal best result as
Yeah.
Bottas this year, which is ridiculous. There's so many like weird and obscure stats from that Grand Prix. Obviously, shortest race of all time.
Mazepin got the fastest lap with a 3:16.
Mazepin got a fastest lap, yeah, with a 3:18. It was slower than the W Series fastest lap.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it'll always be one for the stats, but
it was
worse
technically
than
finished
Indy
after one
05?
lap,
Yep, technically,
because
yep.
they do 2 laps count back.
Exactly, yep. Technically, it was a 7-kilometre Grand Prix. Well, the results were taken after 7 kilometres. It was a 14-kilometre Grand Prix.
Yep.
Worse than Indy 05, Jamie?
No way.
No?
No, not a chance.
No, I
I
completely
mean,
agree
I
with you
can't
there.
comment because I never watched it because I was 5 at the time. But
Yep, so was I.
Indy 05 was so political and so much of a joke. They were still negotiating to race on the formation lap. I remember David Coulthard on the radio was
Yeah,
like,
well, David
"What if we
Coulthard
do
wanted
this?"
to, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
And then, yeah, the
But-
05 Indy was way, way worse. Like,
Yeah,
it
I love-
caused your F1 to leave America for 5 years.
It was already on the way out again.
Yeah.
People say that, but they were looking for an excuse to get rid again.
Yeah.
But
Thiago
yeah, it
Montero
was...
loved it, though, to be fair to him.
Thiago Montero, well, George Russell did his best Thiago
Yeah.
Montero impression, didn't he? Which I thought was incredible.
That was the originator of the podium meme with the 1 and 2 just stood there. And
Yeah.
Thiago Montero going mental in third.
Exactly. Bless him. The only Portuguese driver ever to score a podium.
Wow, that's good knowledge. I mean,
Thank
I
you.
can't think of any Portuguese drivers.
I want to say he was probably one of the only Portuguese driver ever in F1 after about 1978.
Yeah,
But
probably.
still, yeah. But yeah, I think it's so difficult, isn't it? They shouldn't have ran a race. There was all these discussions about you push it. Yeah. Or there was discussions as well. You push it, like you bring it back to when like F3 was.
But
that
how
can't
can
happen.
they know that? Yeah.
Exactly,
can't
and
predict
like
the
people
weather.
were saying, they're like, you do it at a better time of the year. It's the last weekend of August. You can't pick much of a. It's Spa. There is no good time of the year.
Yeah.
This is what happens. Now, that was something I wanted to ask you then. Does this now give them a good excuse to go back to Belgium to try and fill in one of the slots late on this year?
That'd be cool.
You think you give all the fans that were meant to be there a free ticket?
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will. I don't think they'll go back there, to be honest.
Your previous point of the weather's meant to be bad in August. It's going to be even worse in November.
Well, you don't know. This is the problem with Spa, isn't it?
It's not going to be warm. It's going to be at most 10 degrees. There's no way.
Yeah, but you don't. This is the problem with the Belgian Grand Prix. It snowed in May last year when World Endurance Championship, 2019, I want to say. Yeah.
Any weather.
It snowed in May, but it's. I mean, they could theoretically look at going back.
They went to Nürburgring in October last year.
Exactly. They said it was awful, but
it was about 8 degrees, but we ignored that.
Exactly. But it was a Grand Prix still. I feel like this is a good excuse to go back to Spa. Give all the fans that are meant to be there a free ticket. If they can make it, they can make it. If they can't, they can't. You've done what you can then. But yeah, I don't think it'll happen though.
I don't think it will happen.
I think unfortunately. And it's difficult because I really hope this doesn't taint Spa as a track.
I don't think it will. Also, side note, Carlos Sainz hates Spa now apparently, despite being.
He hated Spa already.
Circuits. Yeah,
he hates Spa already.
He's not able to start the last 3 races now.
Exactly. Yeah, he scored. 3 points there, and he's only actually ever done. No, he scored 1 point there, but he's only ever done 1 lap in 3 years.
No, 2019 he stalled on the grid, didn't start. 2020 car broke down the way to grid.
Yeah.
And then this time, obviously, pretty much got cancelled. So 3 years.
Exactly. So he's done 1 lap, in 3 years, and still scored points, which is kind of incredible when you think about it. It's almost.
Did he get half a point? That's going to look annoying on the table for the rest
of
the year.
It's painful on the standings, isn't it?
Yeah.
The half point things, which we haven't seen since 09?
09.
Yeah, Malaysia 09, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But let's get on then to another point, because I heard people talking about, remember the old Bridgestone Monsoon tyres?
Oh, yeah.
The issue I genuinely don't believe is with the tyres in this
not.
Circumstance.
No, you can't.
It's the way the cars are designed.
Tires. The cars are so low that once the whole thing you're driving on is water, it just lifts the tyres above the track, which is why.
But it's because of how big the tyres are as well, isn't it?
It's because the ground clearance is so low.
Yeah,
that's the only reason.
But all the spray and stuff is because the cars are so wide and everything like that.
There's so much spray kicked up by sprays, yeah.
This is what I wondered whether it could theoretically work, so we don't end up with something like this again. Now, it would never happen, just because it would be ridiculous. It's always a good start, isn't it? But you think, with these cars as torquey as they are, and obviously all the electronics on board, whether they could give them traction control for these sorts of circumstances. Now, we see these sorts of circumstances, it's once in 7 years. But wouldn't it be ideal if they could?
That'd be pretty cool. I don't think
but obviously, people would work a way around it. Yeah, you can't put traction control on a Formula 1 car and then genuinely let fans believe that someone hasn't used it. Yeah, exactly. Imagine that down the line. It'd be incredible. But yeah, the cars at the moment are just so advanced. I feel like we've got to the same sort of point as 2004 now, haven't we? Where the cars are so fast, the rules and almost the world can't keep up with them. Well, exactly. At the end of the year, they're all going to get slowed down again. And I think, to be honest, we are going to look back on these years with fondness. I always remember...
all the track records are gone. So.
It was a shot I always remember of Shanghai going through the S's, and I think it was Hamilton. They were they weren't on board with him. They were doing one of the off-board shots, where they go through the fast left and right.
Yeah.
And it will always stick in my mind, because this was 2017, obviously, right at the start of these regulations, where you watch the car flick from the left into the right.
It's stupid.
And just how ridiculously fast it was. Insane. I think it's something
when Hamilton did that mental lap at Singapore, 2018 it was, his pole time that year in 2018 was something like 15 seconds quicker than 2014.
Yeah. I don't think it was quite that much.
It was 150 something in 2014.
It can't have been a 150.
And it was a 38 I'm sure it was. I'm going to Google it.
No, it was quicker than that, I think. Singapore 2014.
I'll go look 2018 Hamilton pole time. This is some real... We put
so here we go. Here we go. Let's what was your lap time? Oh my, it was close.
So
Fair
Hamilton,
play.
136 dead.
Yeah, so it was 9 seconds. Well, 9.6.
Well,
Hamilton did a 1:45.681. Rosberg did a 1:45.688. 7 thousandths of a
Rosberg
second.
was always really good at Singapore, to be fair.
Yeah, it was always a bit of a Hamilton bogey track, to be honest, wasn't it?
Until
It still is this
that
day.
out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. That was like the one, because Mercedes genuinely thought they were slower than Red Bull and
Yeah.
Ferrari that weekend, but that was an
Mental
insane lap as well there. But yeah, I think we probably need to close the Belgian Grand Prix saga, don't we?
Yeah.
Masi needs a refresh on the rules, and I completely agree. He's been put into such a difficult position because, let's be fair, Charlie White
We don't know what we were losing.
yeah,
the
I think a lot of people underappreciated just the sheer skill that Charlie White had in that job.
Yeah. He was like a match made in heaven for it, so
Exactly.
it's going to be impossible to follow.
Yeah.
And
And,
I think Masi does an okay job, but like...
A lot of the time. I feel like he gets a lot of unnecessary hate a lot of the time. Like, there's some dumb decisions here and there, but a lot of the time he's normally pretty good, I'd argue. Or at least you can make sense of why he's made a decision he
see his
has.
point of view of why he's done things,
Yeah.
even if you don't agree with them.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter can't, but we can.
No, exactly. I want to give a special shout out as well to Jost Capito for being arguably my new favourite F1 principal. I don't know if you watched did you watch the interview with him after qualifying?
No?
He was basically saying that obviously Williams had zero plans for what to do because they just didn't expect to be this high. That interview, I fell in love with that man. He looks like a right laugh, bless him.
Yeah. It's,
He gives off Fred for Sir vibes. Yeah, exactly. Like he just seemed like so elate. Like you can tell he wants Williams' success as well, and you love that.
They've left it in good hands, haven't they?
Exactly. Well, they had no real choice, did they, in the end? But Doralton Capital, it's great to know they're knowing what they're doing with it, because I honestly worried to begin with they just cash out on Williams' legacy and drop him from the grid in 5 years, and maybe they still will, or change the name. Yeah, but at the moment they've done so many good things with that team.
That team's such on a good trajectory at the minute.
Exactly.
But
And I really do hope. Guys, I tweeted this out yesterday as well. The picture of Russell getting that podium for Williams. He has been, a lot of the time, the only light in what has arguably been probably Williams' darkest time in Formula 1, obviously with a couple of very notable exceptions over the past. What's that?
Kubica P10 in Hockenheim, what a driver.
Yep. But he has steered them through in
and he'll have learned
such a good way. Exactly. And you think he came into that team, what was he, 2021 originally?
Yeah.
He just dominated Formula 2. He watches two of his mates. One of them gets a Red Bull, one of them gets a McLaren that's on the way up. He was much better than them in Formula 2, like he just was.
Yeah. Lando and Alex were so mid in F2. I mean, Lando is much better now.
Yeah.
He was very young in F2, to be fair, but George was clear of both of them. So
exactly. He has steered that team.
Very hard.
And I just hope that inevitably when he gets the call up for Mercedes next year, which we're going to jump onto in just a second, I hope Williams don't go backwards. I really do pray.
But I mean, if they get Hulk and Joe, they're going to be class. So.
Oh, give over. Just give over, honestly.
I genuinely think Bottas ends up there now, which is a bit of a shame. But
no.
Well,
this is what I wanted to touch on next.
It changes week by week.
So, exactly. So there's a rumor come out today. I can't remember which. This is literally like the dude just trust me source. But there is apparently now talks that Raikkonen will announce his retirement at Monza.
Yeah, Bottas could go to Alpha. I see him there as
well.
And
Bottas goes to Alfa Romeo to replace him, and that's when Mercedes... Because originally, I had it in my head, to be honest, that Mercedes are going to announce George Russell this weekend at Zandvoort. Just take some of the hype away from Max Verstappen.
That'd be quite funny, to be fair.
Genuinely, I reckon that's... I thought if they're going to announce it anywhere, this would be the weekend to do it.
Yeah, well, I think they know already. They know that George is in that seat. They're just waiting for Bottas to be confirmed before they announce them both at the same time, I think.
But if they announce Russell then, and then you announce Kimi the week out, or Kimi retiring the week after, so Bottas is going there, that still kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but he's still going to have questions. I mean, they do it before media day, I guess. But they want to save him from the questions, I think.
Yeah.
So.
But I think Russell announcement this weekend, I reckon.
Yeah. like rattling Red Bull, like the
Exactly.
the tweet for Nick de Vries of the first Dutch world champion.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was brilliant as well. Quick mention as well, obviously, as we look towards Zandvoort, they've changed their speed limits to 33 miles an hour this weekend. 33 kilometres an hour even, obviously to commemorate Max Verstappen. It took less than 20 minutes for a poll to go up for the for the streets around Monza to get changed to Antonio Giovinazzi's number, which I thought was incredible.
They all do that anyway in Italy. They do 99 kilometres.
Exactly. Exactly. I thought that was incredible. Just imagine there, you go into the local council going, yes, we changed number to 99. Which would just be brilliant, because, I mean, that's what? 60 miles an hour? Pretty much on the dot?
Yeah, they still won't give any fines out, would they? So
no, exactly.
do whatever you want in Italy.
But, yeah, Zandvoort then, Jamie. Top 3 predictions.
Max.
Yeah.
He's going to finish all of the positions.
He's going to finish all the positions in
no,
Red Bull are going to announce they've cloned him.
Yeah, Max 1, Max 2, and Max in the AlphaTauri 3.
Right, okay.
No, it'll be Verstappen, Checo, Hamilton. Why not? Red Bull track.
Ooh! Red Bull tracker, you're saying?
There's no straights. It's all corners. Red Bull are going to smash it.
It was all quite high-speed corners.
Yeah, perfect.
Fair enough, then. I'm going to go Verstappen, Hamilton...
Throw someone random in.
Charles Leclerc.
Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah, Yuki Tsunoda suddenly...
I mean, Leclerc was good at Silverstone, so...
Exactly.
It's probably
I should have gone Lando Norris, shouldn't I, really?
Yeah.
But I'm going to go Charles Leclerc this weekend.
McLaren.
Exactly. That's going to be the only orange I'm celebrating this weekend. But yeah, I think, let's be fair, this weekend, Red Bull are going to leave no stone unturned.
Yeah. Max
it's
is
just going to be
it.
It's going to be the Max Verstappen weekend. Even as a Hamilton fan, I
would love to be there, honestly.
Yeah, I would not.
Be executed on the spot.
Probably, yeah. There would just genuinely be a public assassination if anyone comes in wearing anything that doesn't have 33 and an orange lion lathered over it.
Yeah,
but I mean, let's be fair.
Nice place, good beach.
Have you? Genuinely?
Yeah.
Really?
We went to the track. I was on holiday in the Netherlands and we went to it. We just went for the beach and we just looked at the track. I mean, it was nowhere near an F1 track. It's like at least 5 or 6 years ago now.
It was still a pretty decent little grade B circuit, I think.
Yeah, it was good fun. It's right on the seafront. It's quite cool.
Yeah. The only thing I can think that might change around this weekend is if the bank corners end up doing an Indy 05. I imagine we get 2 weekends in a row. We get a race that gets cancelled because of weather, and a race, and then a race that gets cancelled because of the cars can't go around the corners.
Yeah, and that's Bridgestone.
I don't even want to think about that. But yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot today about the Belgian Grand Prix. It's a tough weekend, wasn't it? In the end,
a bit of a shame, really. Yeah.
Quickly before I forget as well. Talks now after we mentioned it last weekend. I reckon clearly someone within high up in Formula One listens to our podcast. Loadcell in Qatar might be taken over from the
TBC, the
TBC Grand Prix, which, if it does, surely will get pushed back a week. Because why on earth would you suddenly race to the Middle East and then spend a week there and then do another Grand Prix?
Yeah, probably.
I think it is going to be
the end of a double header as well. So just move it back and make a new one.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to race. You're going to just leave it, put it a week back, and then have a triple header to finish off the year.
Yeah.
In the Middle East, but it could be that. It could be Bahrain still. There's always the slim chance that might happen again. But I think they'd probably be quite interested to get more Qatar money in, ready for the World Cup
Bahrain Grand Prix
and all
in the
that.
last 2 years.
Exactly. But maybe Spa for the other empty slot. I think they're just going to do a bit of a calendar reshuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eiffel as well, I suppose. I feel like there's only going to be 22 races this year, isn't it now? I think they've basically had to accept defeat on that one, which is still a record actually, isn't it? Because last year was meant to be 22, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it must be. 21 in 2016. They got rid of one since then.
Yeah. Oh, quickly as well. I'm suddenly just remembering loads of things as we try to round out.
45 minutes.
Why don't F1 tracks have NASCAR-style water sweepers?
I don't know. That make loads of sense.
It really would,
it's like the reverse Bernie Ecclestone sprinkler.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, put those on the track as well at the same time if you like. I don't know. But yeah, F1 needs some proper... F1, yeah, no, almost as good as his 30cm walls on the white lines. Like, what?
He was a mentalist, honestly.
He was.
Do you remember his idea for changing the point system to be 1 point for a win and that's it? So it's just
Oh dear God!
Like, imagine the Mercedes era. It's just Hamilton and Rosberg on one, like 10 points each, and no one else has got any.
Yeah. I don't get Bernie, man. Honestly,
case.
like, let's be fair. I know there was always some speculation and hate at the beginning. Liberty Media have done a bloody incredible job with Formula One, haven't they?
They've made it so global now. Like so many.
Exactly. It's genuinely incredible. Like, for people like us that obviously were there beforehand, and although let's be fair, we're not big players or any stretch like that.
No, I am.
Quite into the social media. Behave. But like being able to watch the sport that because I mean we've both been fans for as long as we can remember. Haven't we?
100%.
It's been something for both of us since we were little kids. At the end of the day, but to watch it grow into something now that, let's be fair, is difficult sometimes. Twitter is a horrendous place now. It's just awful. Like,
I
if you watch,
not to follow
I don't know. I don't know why I put our Twitter handle on this video, because generally, if you're watching this, don't use Twitter. If you're an F1 fan, just don't. It's awful. But seeing the way honestly, it's grown,
even 3 years ago when I first came to uni, I would deliberately mention F1 to people, and they'd be like, "Okay, I know Hamilton's good." Yeah. Like now, most people I talk to have some sort of good
basic understanding
because of Drive to Survive, really.
Exactly.
Which is a good start, and people get into it off that. So
yeah, it is incredible the way they've been able to do it.
Media are banging it. So
Bernie's still having more kids.
Yeah, Bernie's got a kid recently, hasn't he? What?
How on earth? 91.
Like 90,
Oh god, that's just mixed with skin crawl thinking about it.
We should definitely end this podcast.
God, yeah, we probably should. We've gone from the Belgian Grand Prix to Bernie Eccleston. Still somehow being able to produce children in his 90s, but this was probably one of the biggest tests that Liberty's had since they took over. Obviously, one of the other Australia and of course Spa 19.
Yeah,
were three of the big ones that they've had to deal with.
Most of them okay, I think, to be fair to them. So we'll see what happens with this in the coming days.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult, isn't it? Either way, but. Let us know your thoughts and feelings down below. Then we've ranted about this for an incredibly long time over the course of today as well there. But yeah, let us know down in the comments below your thoughts and feelings of the Belgian Grand Prix as well. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed to the channel as well. Obviously, we're trying to keep this weekly at the moment as well. We've got plenty more stuff planned. We've actually got a load more ideas. Like, we've genuinely got so many cool things we want to do if we can find more time to get more videos done together as well, because I think, well, hopefully you enjoy doing this sort of thing as well, Jamie.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of other cool...
Days.
Exactly. It's something we both love doing. That's why we end up rambling so much in these podcasts as well there. But yeah, we've got a lot of other stuff, cool stuff planned, obviously, at the moment. A massive thank you as well, personally, from me for the continued support on the channel. We're nearing in 19,000 subscribers now. 20k might just be doable by the end of the year as well there. But yeah, we'll be back next weekend, hopefully able to review a Grand Prix from Zandvoort. Jamie's going Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton. I'm going Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc. Let us know your top 3 predictions down below. Jamie, anything to add before we finish?
Don't think so.
No? Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back next Monday, hopefully, or next Tuesday even, I should say, with a Grand Prix review.